Alrighty. So why don't you go ahead and just tell me a little bit about yourselves, sort of your journey to the beauty industry and how you ended up doing what you're doing now.
Sure. So I'm David Barnett. This is my wife, Nicole Barnett. Well, first and foremost, we're both hairdressers. I think that's the most important part to establish, first of all. I'm fourth generation hairdresser. So
Wow.
Started hairdressing when I was 14 years old, shampooing hair on Saturdays. My father was on the British team as a hair cutter. So I've had it in my life, my entire life. Started my career with Tony and Guy. Worked with them for nearly 10 years, became one of the youngest ever franchisees. I was 22 when I owned my own Tony and Guy. Ended up selling that, and I thought to myself, I want to live somewhere that's more like a fashion capital, and I moved to New York City. I worked for one of the top salons in New York, and that's the John Barrett Salon, which at the time was in the penthouse in Bergdorf Goodman. So it was an incredible experience. Got to do New York Fashion Week, got to do the Grammys, the MTV Awards, all that fun stuff. And it really kind of opened my eyes to the business aspects of our industry, because the salon there was doing $12 million a year, $1 million a month, and had multiple stylists earning six figures behind the chair. And so for me, it was just like this aha moment. I met Nicole then, and we kind of decided then that we wanted to open our own business. And my idea was, could any salon in any town become $1 million salon and have multiple stylists earning that kind of money, earning six figures behind the chair? So we ended up opening a salon in a small town in Northern California. And very quickly, we took it from the ground to doing over $1 million in revenue. Even though we only had a small team, had multiple stylists earning six figures behind the chair. And we quickly realized that this kind of knowledge and information was really what was missing from the industry. We had multiple salon owners calling us and saying to us, what are you doing differently? We hear about what's happening in your business, the money that you're making, the money you're able to pay your team members. How do you do that? So we started to kind of organically coach them. And then we realized that, this is what's missing. This is what we need to give to people. So we ended up 5 years ago selling our company and going full-time into education and coaching other salons, business coaching. We're now in 12 countries. And most of our business is virtual, of course, which has still worked really well for us during the last 18 months. But it's been absolutely incredible, amazing. You tell them.
Yeah, so I have a bit of a different road into our industry. So I came from the corporate world. So I was actually, after university, I was in pharmaceuticals, and I was in the pharma world for about 5 years. But I always loved the hair and beauty industry. At one point, I wanted to be on the sciencey end of it. Like, I thought I'd be more like making makeup or perfume. And that's what got me into pharma. But I ended up it wasn't the right fit for me. I didn't wake up with passion. So I ended up transitioning to the beauty industry through a salon it was a big production. I became the business director. It was a salon and day spa. We had over 100 employees. It's about 15,000 square feet. It was like, welcome to the industry. And so I was able to work with that business, and we were able to grow it from doing around 3 million a year to nearly 5 million a year.
Wow.
But in that process, I heard nearly every day, but you're not a hairdresser. So I felt like there was this resistance because I wasn't one of the gang. So I went back to classical. So there I was at almost 30, going to cosmetology school. And I didn't know what would come of it, other than I wanted that perspective. I loved the industry and thought, well, maybe that will be a fun transition. And it turned out it was. So I stepped completely away from the business end, finished school, did a full apprenticeship, ended up being an educator and platform artist for Redken. So I traveled all over the country, educating for them, which that's how David's and my paths crossed. And he kind of updated you from that point where we met in Chicago. But I think the thing now is that my mission now as a hairstylist and I'm merging all of my background into one place now, is that we just like what I jump out of bed in the morning knowing I get to help people still, that I still get to educate. And it's our mission to just reach as many stylists, as many salon owners as possible to help empower them to know how to have a highly profitable and successful business for themselves and for their teams. So everybody can live their ideal lifestyle, whatever definition that has.
So that's a great segue to my next question. COVID's obviously affected the salon industry a lot, staffing shortages, people are burned out. What do you feel like are positives and negatives that owners especially can take from this and grow their business next year and beyond?
I think, first of all, what we're seeing now that's happening regarding, like you just said, staff shortages, not being able to find new team members. I think this has been happening for a while.
Okay.
I think that over the last 5 to 7 years, we've seen this happening through, salon suites, home hairdressing, especially like in the UK and Europe right now. And I think that COVID has just sped everything up. It's magnified everything that the direction that the business, that the industry was moving in initially. Now, on top of that, of course, then we've got the burnout. We've got the mental health issues, which, as a salon owner, I know it can be very, very frustrating. If I put my salon owner hat on for a second, I know that there's nothing more frustrating than having team members calling up and saying, maybe they're 22 years old and they're saying, I've got anxiety, I'm burnt out, I need some time off. But what we've got to acknowledge is that this is real. This is real stuff, and I think for the longest time, we've been fighting against what stylists have been saying to us. They've been leaving the industry and going into salon suites or working from home so that they can have the luxury of their own schedule. So they have the luxury of coming first, being the number one priority. But really, we haven't been doing anything to change the message, to change the approach of what we're doing. So I think what we want to talk about today is a fresh approach for us to say to stylists, we hear you, we know exactly where you're coming from, and now we want to do something about it.
I think some additional things, like to what David just said, is that it used to be that there was the desire for work-life balance, right? It was a conversation, but now I feel like that, again, that magnification, it's a demand.
Sure.
Now.
Yeah.
It's a demand, and individuals are making big decisions in order to have it. So before, it might have been a conversation and we change little things and it appeases them for a while, and then we come back and have the same conversation again. But it's a demand now, and if people aren't getting it, they're full out. They're leaving the industry altogether. They're leaving their place of work to go work somewhere else. They'll work for less money as long as they're feeling that this balance is happening. Some positives, though, that I feel have come from this is that I think, again, the magnifying glass from the last 18 months is I think it lit the fire in the salon owner to really have to understand their business, the business part of their business. If there was ever a time you were going to understand the numbers, the money, the finances, whatever you want to label it, the time is now. Because in order to navigate the last 18 months, they had to dig in and figure out how they were going to make it through. And in that process, I think a lot of owners wanted to just figure it out for the foundation that it gives them to have a long-term successful business. So I think it lit the fire to dive into understanding the business side of the business, which is great. That's going to give everybody a new foundation to grow from now that we're coming out on the other side of this. I also think the exciting thing is that there's this blueprint that salons have run by for like the last half century, like 50 plus years, 30 years, however long ago back it goes. And I think every time someone opens a new salon, there's this basic blueprint that we all put our own name, look, feel to. And whether that was broken 30 years ago, it worked, but maybe it worked at some point, maybe it worked 18 months ago, but I don't think it's working now. And this ties back again to the burnout factor, the burnout for the stylist and the salon owner, right? It's owners are closing shop too. It's not just stylists leaving the salon.
Well, I think another huge positive that has come out of this is that, the salons that have been prepared and got a deeper understanding of their business, they are seeing insane growth right now. As much as, we've seen so many salons close, and a lot of individuals having realization of what's important to them in their life, which again is another positive. For some of them, they've turned around and said, why do I own a salon? I don't want to own a salon. I want to go back to just doing my own clients, or I want to go and work for a team again. I don't want the stress that's connected with opening your own salon. And then there's other salon owners that have said, I see an opportunity now. There's so many clients out there that are still looking to have their hair done, that are trying to get into the salon. I need to grow my team now. There's other previous salon owners that now I can bring onto my team and really create a massive clientele here. So again, I think there's been huge opportunity created.
Yes, and the opportunity with that, with the realization that there is opportunity, is that you can do it with a different blueprint. Right. So whether it was a 30-year-old blueprint or an 18-month-old blueprint, the point is, I don't think anyone really knows why those non-negotiables were part of that blueprint. We just did what the people before us did and then put our name on it and decorated. Right. So there is, and I think this is the most important part of our message to our industry that we're trying to create some momentum with, is that there isn't a one size fits all blueprint that you have to follow anymore. That there is room for us truly to do it different and be highly successful and highly profitable and have work-life balance. Like, I know they say you can't have it all, but you kind of can if you do it right, right? If you do it with intention and purpose, you can have balance, but it's not just doing it the same old way we've always done it. It's got to look different to get a different result.
So another great segue. Tell us about your We Don't Do Saturdays cause. What is it? How did you come up with it? And how does it have the potential to transform a lot of businesses in our industry?
Yes. So obviously, the thing that we're kind of talking about here is, like you just said, we don't do Saturdays, right? The idea that salons can change and work Monday through Friday, right? Give the team members their weekends back, give their families their weekends back. This is the important part of this, is it's not just a schedule change, right? This is something that we've got to get extremely clear, that this is a cause. This is a core belief in what we are doing. And there's very few salon companies out there that actually have a true cause that they work for. When you think about companies in different industries that have a cause, I can think straight away about like Tom's shoes, right? Buy one, give one. That is their cause. That is their message behind them. And there's so many people out there that went out and bought those, let's be completely honest, fairly ugly shoes, right? Because now they're very comfortable. They're like slippers, but they're not exactly the most attractive shoe in the world. But there was an alignment there with a belief, right, in why we are in business. Now, it doesn't have to be a charitable cause. I think of like Chick-fil-A, for instance, right, who we all know, one of their big beliefs is we don't work Sundays, right? We believe Sunday, that's for religious reasons, and also because they believe that their team members, including their management staff, should all be spending time with their families on a Sunday, right? So this is a very similar thing to that. It's about, why are we really in business? We're in business so that we can create an amazing environment for our team members to work for, but also so they can have balance with in their life and with their families, with their loved ones, right? So this is so much more than a schedule change, right? It's about this core belief of us saying our team members come first. They are our number one priority. And I don't think there's ever been a more relevant time to really scream from the rooftops that you matter. We're going to take care of you. If you work for us, we're going to look after you. Now, I know there's so many salons out there that are probably thinking to themselves, hang on a second, my team do matter to me. They do come first. And I know that. And when we speak to salon owners every single day that do incredible things for their team, but I think we've got to make it obvious. We've got to make it obvious to people outside of our salon, so future guests, And also future team members as well, that if you come and work for us, that it's different, right? So this is where, when you roll this out correctly, there's a huge growth opportunity here, right? It's not just about changing the schedule, having a yay moment with your team, and then back to work on Monday morning. It's not about that. It's about putting out a completely different message to say, you are different.
Okay. So talk about the logistics of this, and if the salon is interested, like, I'm sure they have a ton of questions about how is this even possible. So talk me through what that looks like.
So taking what David said, that this needs to be something bigger than just a schedule change, because I know us as stylists, that sounds awesome. I want that. And then we turn around and be like, let's do it. And then we change the hours and we like go for it, right? So this is something that I highly encourage business owners to do some due diligence. This is not 100% for every business out there. And there's other ways that, if this wasn't the right fit, that there's other ways you can take this message and make it work for your business. But we don't do Saturdays. So the due diligence part is, it's scary. You got to have some courage here, right? Because this is breaking the DNA of our industry. And what I say is, the first thing we look at is your numbers, and the confidence comes from the numbers. And if the numbers make sense, then we can do this with minimal risk, and we can anticipate what our future projections will be, that our team's going to earn the same amount or even more money. So I think it's taking a moment of pause to really look at your business and analyze it and say, can this work for me moving forward? And when you do that, then it allows you to track properly once you've made the change, to make sure that you're looking at what you're looking at. If there are changes, that you're able to track where they came from. But if you don't have the where's my current location to the destination you plug in, if you don't have that, we're not going to be able to like track the journey. So we've launched this concept internally in our coaching community a couple months ago. So, and we're partners in 3 salons that we own in the UK. So obviously we're rolling that out in our own business. So I've been able to dig in, like, what do we need to look at? What are the numbers saying? And now what I'm finding, it's so interesting, is that I think there's a belief that Saturday is the busiest day. And that's why it's non-negotiable. We kind of just have that assumption. But what I've found in actually running the numbers is that Saturday is coming in a 5-day work week. It's coming in at like 4th, if not 5th. And salons that are open 6 days, it's coming in at 5th or 6th in revenue, right? So, and then when I look at average ticket per day, average retail ticket per day, Saturdays almost always last. So when we start thinking, and this is where it gets exciting for salon owners to be like, I can figure out my numbers, like I can do it, is that it's not just about being busy, like feeling busy, like what you feel isn't always real. And feeling busy on a Saturday doesn't mean it's the day you bring in the most revenue. And it doesn't mean it's the day the business makes the most profit. And so when we break everything down by day and we look at it, we're like, it's not even in the top 3 days of the week. And that's been consistent in every salon I've looked at. So that gets us to say, then I take it a step further with salon owners and say, well, let's look at what is happening on a Saturday. Why is the average ticket so low? And then but is it last in profit, right? Let's look at where the revenue is actually coming from. And what we found was the services that were being done on a Saturday weren't the services that had the highest profit margin. So not only are the ticket averages lower, but the services that are being performed aren't the services the salon makes the most money from. So I know I could probably lose some people here. So if you think of a service that takes 45 minutes, service A, the business could make $15 on that 45 minutes. After expenses and the stylist is paid and all that, the business made $15. Another 45-minute service, the business could make $2. And if you have a day full of services where the business is only making $2, instead of the 15 it could be if something else was in the chair, that significantly affects the profit for the business. Now it's still operational and the stylists are doing fine, but the business owner is struggling. And that's oftentimes where owners contact us. My business is doing more and more revenue, but I'm still broke. Where's the disconnect? And this is in the fine tuning of these things. So it's, for a lot of businesses, I think it's a no-brainer. The numbers tell us, like, you can transition, and Saturdays are often the shortest days of operation because a lot of salons already work less hours that day. So it's not a lot to transition those working hours to other days of the week. And it's
so that's
not
what
a lot.
You suggest is elongating your hours during the week?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's for salons that are closed on Monday, open up on Monday. So you don't even have to go late nights. You can just give more availability during the week.
Yeah.
Well, we found as well, though, that, what we're doing with our own salons is extending, because we've got, in one of the salons we've got a big team. There's probably 15 stylists in there. So what we've got is longer hours now. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're actually doing 9 till 9, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then we finish at 5 o'clock on a Friday. So it's like 5 o'clock, finish for the weekend, 9 to 5 on a Friday. And the team aren't doing any more hours than they were before. Some of them are actually doing less hours because they chose to, but it gives us more flexibility if we've got stylists that want to do school hours, 9 till 3, or if they want to do 3 long days, 3 12-hour days. If they want to do that, they can do that as well. So it's really opened up the spectrum of what's possible for the stylist too.
So that's where extending the hours during the day doesn't mean everyone's working nights now.
No.
It's you can say to your team, what's your ideal schedule, and mean it. And like for us, like it gives us room to grow. We don't have every shift filled 9 to 9, like every chair double shift. Like we got a big space to fill, but now we've got room to grow. So this is another really exciting thing as a salon owner and as just an industry professional, that getting this concept through, that you can have any blueprint that works for your business. And that can be Monday through Friday, should that fit for you. But I think it's going to change the people coming into the industry. I think we're going to get higher quality young professionals saying, oh, I could turn my passion into a career, but they pick something else because they know they're committed to weekends for the rest of their lives. It's like the ball and chain effect. And I think people who would be amazing business owners are going to step forward and start opening salons because they feel like I can do it. I can really do it different than anyone else did. And like for me as a mom, like one, I don't get my hair done on the weekends. And as we look at opening salons and doing things, it's Monday through Friday because I don't want to work weekends.
Right.
And I don't want my stylist to have to work weekends either.
I think as well, one of the most difficult positions to fill in the salon is front of house, right? Finding someone amazing front of house. And I think, again, there's so many people out there that wouldn't even apply to a salon just because the weekend thing. So again, taking that off the table opens then the floodgates of people that are going, okay, well, I can work for a top salon, be front of house, be in retail manager or whatever that position is, and just work Monday through Friday. I'm in.
So do you see this as something that you sort of slowly implement, or do you just decide with your due diligence to go for it and you just do it? How does that work?
What we're seeing with the salon owners we're working with now that are doing this is everything's happening quietly in the background. Okay. And I know it's so hard. We want to go and like, right. But we've seen it best when we run as an owner. It's our responsibility to figure out, is this a good move for the business? And will my stylist have the same security or better that they have today? We are all about paying our teams as much as possible that works within the business structure, right? So uncapped earning potential is always like our key thing when we work with owners. Don't be afraid to put more on the table if you've got everything else in check. So with this, we're finding everything quietly in the background, get it, do it with a plan, do it with purpose and intention. Like, don't say, I'll give it a go, and then be like, if it doesn't work, I'll go back. Like, this is something, if you say I'm closing Saturdays and then you tell your team, oh, actually, I didn't do my homework right, we got to open back up, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, because they're not taking Saturdays back. So I think it's something that as an owner, you decide, is this in line with the team culture I want to grow within my business? Is this in line with a message I want to take to my community? And the how is just a change in schedule. It's the how. The belief is I want to do things in a way that I can put my team and their families like equally as important as taking care of my guests.
But I think it's, you're talking like probably a 2 to 3 month window before you get, well, I'm just saying about, because a lot of salons already have people booked on Saturdays.
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
so
sure.
it just depends on that time window, really. I mean, you can get everything in place and ready to go within a couple of weeks, but if you're looking at your books and you're going, okay, well, I've got people booked through now, because when we were talking about this back in July, and we said like, okay, October 1st is our deadline. That's when we're going to do it. Okay, that's enough time to tell the team about it, get them excited about it, get the marketing right as well for when we roll this out, and then also tell our guests that from October 1st we won't be opening Saturdays anymore.
So that's how the rollout to this is important, because we want this to be a springboard for growth. So as a business coach, I think it's one thing to have an idea that can fix a solution. That's great. But I think the idea needs to be big enough that it can create new growth. That's the key factor here, right? So there are salons that are already closed on Saturdays and they're doing great. They're fine. Like a lot of, I dug around, like, are there salons that have this kind of schedule? And there were salons that came back from lockdown and implemented this, but they just did it quietly as a schedule change. So operationally, it's fine. It's fine. We can it's okay. But we're looking at this as how can you use this as a springboard for new growth for your business. And the number one problem salon owners have today is retaining and recruiting new team members. It's our biggest problem. But if you market this correctly, it's a message we can share with our communities of, we're in a new time with a new filter, and this is how we're changing our business to take care of our people. And we can still take care of our guests. And our guests that we're seeing now that we've shared that with, they love it. They're like, that is amazing that you are taking the health and welfare and work and life balance of your team and making it a priority. We've had no complaints whatsoever. But for also recruiting new team members, we can go out with a new mission so that stylists that have left team-based salons could feel like they have a place to come back to, and new talent, new professionals have a place to go to that fits the vision that they have for their lifestyle moving forward. So I feel like that marketing piece that we're able to give the salons that are doing it is part of what we feel like the new growth potential is, where our pressure point is right now. That the schedule change is great for today, but in order for you to use it to grow awareness for your business and your community, and to have team members lining up, knocking on the door, waiting for a job for you, that's marketing.
So, and you kind of already touched on this, but for an owner who's like really intrigued by what you're saying, but I mean, it's probably hard to make that decision. How would you coach them to really decide if this is something that they should, one, look into, and two, execute?
Well, I think, like Nicole mentioned earlier, every business is different, right? Slightly different. Okay. We're all in the exact same industry, but they're all slightly different. Every single business. We've never had like a cookie cutter situation with any business that we worked with. So I think the easiest way is to jump on a call. So what we've done is we've put a very special link on our website, which is joinhps.com. They can go on there, click the link, and schedule a free call with us. So if they want to get on and just talk about it a bit more in depth, we can talk specifically then about their business and where they are right now, the size of their team, how impactful this will be for them, and where they can get a clear vision if this is a right fit for them or not.
I think the biggest thing we've had with people is we share with them the idea of we don't do Saturdays, and there's the blank look, and it usually lasts like the uncomfortable silence, like, and then they're like, no, that's right. All of a sudden, like the committee, like, right, the committee jumps in, right, and that bully in our head is like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
we can't do that. That's going like. We have to work Saturdays. Saturdays is essential. I had to work 20 years of Saturdays.
Right.
Right. All these voices come in our head. But then 2 days later, I can't get this out of my head. I'm sitting there I was looking at the salon this Saturday. We really weren't that busy. Wow. I can't believe, like, could this really, like, it sets in, like, could this be true?
I think
right?
I think a lot of the greatest ideas that come out, in the world, right, come from the simplest thing, right? It's the simplest idea. And I was talking to Ronan Percival, who owns Forest, Forest, the salon software, the other day, and we were talking about this exact problem of recruitment. It's the number one problem in our industry, right? And I said to him, I think we have what could be the solution to this. We don't do Saturdays. We close Saturdays. And he just went. And he just sat there, blank face. And I was like, Ronan, you okay? And he was like, it's so simple, but I agree. That is so powerful. That could be absolutely massive. I think that's an amazing idea. And I think, honestly, I believe this could be a game changer for our industry.
And I think it just takes one person to do it. And then everyone kind of watches and sees the potential that it could have for their own lives. So,
well, I think that's it as well. I mean, we have probably about a dozen salons that we're working with that are ready to roll on October the 1st with this.
Okay.
With this. I'm not sure when this piece is going out or not, but by then we're also going to have some solid numbers very quickly after that, which should be really, really intriguing as well. To see Salon, because we're not looking for a flat line here. We are looking for growth. We want to see that this has been a positive move in every aspect, not just the vibe with the team in the salon and the way that they feel, but also from a financial perspective as well, that there's growth happening. As Nicole said, we're business coaches first and foremost, and we don't just throw out ideas because we think, oh, this might be a good thing for salons to try. No, this has to work. This has to be something that is going to project growth.
I would love to do a follow-up with you all after this has been rolled out and talk a little bit more about the results that people are seeing.
Yeah,
that'd be fantastic. Maybe we can get a couple of salon owners on with us as well.
Oh, that would be great. I would love that.
The salons we've shared this with where we've worked with the owners, we've already told the teams, right? So we're in the roll up to waiting for that first Friday happy hour. And back to like the burnout thing, because this kind of stuff right now is so real, right? And with our teams and the change already in the way people are showing up for work, the change in just their outlook. I just think we're talking a lot about this right now, where we've been in survival mode. Like we thought, like, how long could this last? Like, I don't think anyone saw it lasting like this 18-month, 2-year, and it's not over, right? Like there's a lot of pivoting that I think we're still going to have to do moving forward. And it's been a long haul and we've been in survival mode. And I just think timing is always everything. And I think the timing of this with the reality of the filter, the new lens people are trying to live through, I think the time is just now. I don't think 18 months ago we wouldn't have been ready. Yeah, this is just like a breath of fresh air into our industry, that we can stop putting a different color lipstick on the same problem,
Mhm.
like we can actually like have a whole new fresh start to that. And if it's not this, I just encourage salon owners, like think this big. Think this big. Like what else could you shift and switch that could be this big? Because it's not just about Saturdays. Like for us, we're about and. If it's Saturdays, what can the and be? And the Friday after Thanksgiving off, and half a day on Halloween, and half a day on Valentine's Day. You get your birthday off. I mean, we're stacking this like so high in the like the, getting the salons to like, if you're gonna put team here, what else can we offer? Like how big can we make it? And that's why that's part of the, it's not just about Saturdays, it's about the cause and the mission and the belief that making this a core value, because there's a lot of things once salons roll this out, the and list is going to be amazing to watch.
You know,
what else people add to it.
The first team that we ever rolled this out to, that we talked to about, was our team, our internal team. And, you know, we've got managers in different locations, of course, we've got a general manager as well. And they're all on this Zoom call. And, you know, we, of course, first of all, talked about the importance of them to us, our team, what we stand for, our core beliefs, our core values. And then we got to the end of it. And I said, and for that reason, we're closing weekends, we're closing Saturdays. We don't do Saturdays anymore. And this girl just burst out crying.
Oh my gosh.
Head in her hands.
And we're like, what have we done?
You okay? Everything okay? And she was like, you don't understand. This changes my life. She said, I'm married to a school teacher. We have kids. She said, and he's Monday through Friday, no choice. I never, ever thought I'd be off Saturdays. She said, this changes everything for me. And it was amazing to see just how deeply this simple idea impacts people, you know? It was amazing. It was like, at that moment, we were like, we made the right idea.
Yeah.
The right move. This is the right move for us.
Even just for her. Because honestly, like if you can change one life in your lifetime, like,
right.
I'll take that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But to have this, I mean, we've got lots of stories like that already. People processing what this means for their future, for their families.
Yeah. I don't believe you is a common response as well. I don't believe you. I'm like, sorry?
We had one salon,
it
took a week. I'm like, how are they today? They're still like, when's the catch? We're like, there isn't one.
Yeah.
We really, really mean it.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, it's just there just comes certain times where something can really be done totally different. And I know it's scary, and I know it's going to take people to find that courage within themselves to do it different than the way we've seen it for our entire lifetime. Right. But it's possible. It really is. Just do your homework, get help from whatever resource, like we're a resource, maybe you have another resource, like, but have someone go through it with you so you get confidence before you do it. Because as an owner, we stand up front, like our team's going to follow our lead. So get the confidence, get the message, and then implement with purpose and intention. And if you do those steps, this could be your new schedule. You could have your weekends back.
Yeah.